I'm Joshua Griffith for Sports Talk Line. Guess what? Because I have the best back wall out of all the sports talk guys, they're giving me my own 1 hour show every week on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of what we'll be doing. Mainly the show will be me talking sports, but it'll be a lot of interviews. So today we had Whitecaps announcer Don Andrews. Hope you enjoy. So I'm with voice of the Vancouver Whitecaps and Vancouver Canucks, Don Andrews. Don, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Joshua. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So first of all, how are you? How are you doing? How's the family? You guys staying safe and healthy and sane during these times?
We're doing good. My wife is a first responder. My wife is, she works decom 911, so there hasn't been a lot of downtime for her. But my kids are learning that dad can school them. Sometimes school is fun. Sometimes school is kind of cool. I'm not too hard on them. They're enjoying it.
That's good, yeah.
But we're surviving. We're doing what we can. We're keeping our hands washed. We're hydrating lots. We just came back from like an hour-long scoot through the neighborhood just to go out, get some fresh air and stuff like that. So we're doing okay.
That's good. Good to hear. Okay, so yeah, we'll just get a little started here. So you seem to love multiple number of sports. I mean, you announced the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Vancouver Canucks, the Warriors goals, BC Lions touchdowns, Rugby sevens, including some very memorable Canadian games, WSOF Global and Rise FC Canada as a in-cage announcer, and the Lee Baker Promotions Ontario as a ringside announcer. Is that correct?
That's pretty much correct. With the Lee Baxter stuff from Ontario, they actually came here to our town, did a show, and I was there in cage or in ring announcer. So, but you're on the right track for sure.
Is there anything I'm missing?
Not so far, no.
Okay. So what has been your most memorable event to cover?
So are you talking as far as everything's concerned, as far as like
everything? Yes, as far as everything's concerned, everything that you've done.
There's a whole bunch of memorable things because it's being a sports fan like I am that really does like multiple sports. I get to experience sometimes more than one thing at a time, and I guess the most memorable things for me at this stage so far. The 2010 Olympics, I didn't have a huge role at the Olympics, but I did enjoy it. I got to work at the Olympics for about a week. And it was really neat. It's very, very cool cultural and international experience, which was really cool. And I think one of the most memorable things for me ever was the first ever event I did at Rugby Sevens.
Yeah, the Rugby Sevens are an absolute blast. I don't know.
The first year I did them too, I wasn't sure. I've played rugby. I have a background. I played rugby for 5 years. I played a bunch of football and soccer and all that sort of stuff. So I have a vested interest in the rugby. So I understood it. And I still, when I got there, wasn't too sure what I was going to be doing or how it was going to happen. I was used to regular 15s rugby.
Yeah.
And we did 22 matches the first day. And I realized right away, this is busy, but I really loved it.
Yeah, it is. Go, go, go. It's a great weekend though. And anyone in Vancouver that hasn't checked it out, or if you want to come to Vancouver, check it out. It's definitely worth the time.
For sure.
Okay. So, what has been your favorite Whitecaps moment to cover? Because I'm a big Whitecaps fan, obviously. So I heard you lots there and call lots of goals there.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get back to soccer soon enough. Just really quickly, thank you to everybody that's purchased a mask for the initiative to help save the aquarium. With the Whitecaps coming together with the aquarium to do this, it's been tremendous. Thank you to everybody that's bought their stuff and supported and watched the videos and retweeted and tweeted online. It's terrific. So, but for me, the number one favorite Whitecaps moment, and there's been a few, July 16th, 2016. The day I got to introduce Alfonso for the very first time on the pitch. When he didn't start, he came off the bench. But when he went in for the very first time, I mean, everybody knew what we were looking at. But to really get a sense of the electricity in that building and the way that the crowd welcomed him and knew what they were in for and could see what they were in for. When he started to warm up on the sidelines, I could hear the people in the crowd starting to talk. Everybody below us was starting to talk, and you could hear it. You could hear what's Alfonso, the Davies. This is it. The kid's the superstar is going to go in. I remember saying his name for the first time, and I remember the crowd just absolutely losing their minds. Top Whitecaps moment for me, for sure.
That was a very special moment, actually. I do remember that. I was in the south side for that, and that was very special. There was a lot of Alfonso Davies moments.
There is one more Whitecaps other thing that I should mention. I think it was 2017. We did the final game of the year. We did the starting 11 from the pitch, right in front of the supporters groups, and I got to bring my son with me, which was really, really cool. He got to stand with me on the pitch, and we got to be there in front of all the supporters and do the starters and all that. So that's a close second. Alfonso definitely comes first, but that's definitely a close second.
Yeah, that's a really cool experience too to share with your son. So
yeah, it was great. It was tons of fun.
Absolutely. Okay, and how about your favorite Canucks moment? I know you don't do them as much, but
no, being a fill-in guy, Al Murdoch does a phenomenal job. He's doing such a tremendous job. He's also doing a tremendous job of keeping himself busy on social media. These goal announcements that he's been doing have just been absolutely priceless, and he's kept everybody informed of hockey. So, but being the backup guy, being the fill-in guy, and getting the opportunities that I do, they are kind of few and far between. But again, it's really like the Whitecaps. I remember for me, September 17th, 2017, was my first ever Canucks game. And for the few people that do know me and kind of know my history, they know how long it took me, not only to get upstairs and to be sitting in the building and being able to crack the microphone as the fill-in PA announcer for the Canucks. It took me 5 years just to get a phone call and just to get a meeting and just to get in the office building. So when September 17th came around, marked it on my calendar, I knew that day or that night, I knew the night prior to that, I wasn't going to get much sleep, and I didn't. I got up the next morning and I was so ready to go at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 7 o'clock at night, I was sitting, well, it was earlier than that, it was about 5 o'clock, but I was sitting in my seat at about 5 o'clock, and it really just kind of sank into me. I looked around and I thought, wow, this is really, really, really happening. It's really cool. It was a really great experience for me. That one for the Canucks, top shelf. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can imagine that would be a pretty surreal experience, and almost like Christmas for us sports guys.
Totally. Yeah. And see, you understand that. Not a lot of people want to do what we do in this world. Lots of people think they want to do our jobs, but when it really comes down to it, we've got a fairly difficult job to do. But the joy that comes from it, the working with the Whitecaps and having 20,000 plus people respond to you when you say something is, I can't even describe it. I have no words to describe it.
Yeah. I bet. Okay, well, let's move along here. And so how did you get into sports from a young age, and then obviously broadcasting at Columbia Academy? How did it lead you to where you are now?
Funny enough, I wasn't that kid that was really obsessed with sports when I was a kid. My dad loved lots of hockey. We watched lots of hockey at CBC and Hockey Night Canada and all that stuff. But it wasn't until I was really in like the later stages of elementary school. My elementary school in grade 7 in Westminster offered a rugby program. Our gym teacher was a big rugby fan, so he offered the grade 7 class the opportunity to learn and play some rugby. And I realized right away that this was a tremendous sport. It's a phenomenal sport. Lots of really great people. I had amazing memories from it. I played for like 5 years. And at that point, I realized, well, I think I really like this. Maybe I should try some football. So I went and I tried out for the football team in grade 8, as soon as we went up into junior high school, and then played right up until grade 12. Would have played into college and university, but I never went to college or university. I ended up having to leave town for a little bit. In the long haul of it all, I didn't really become a sports fan until I was probably in my, double digit ages, maybe 10, 11, 12. And then I really started to like it. and then playing a little bit of sports in the neighborhood and playing with some friends, play some hockey and stuff. And, you know, spending my time with my dad watching hockey and loving it. And then, 25 years goes by, or 10, 15 years goes by. And I still am a big, huge sports fan. I've always been a Canucks fan. I'm never going to change. I've always been a Lions fan. I'm never going to change. I've been a Whitecaps fan for, since the beginning as well, way back in the NASL days. Because I'm born and raised here, along with my wife and everybody that's local and such. So the big thing for me was, I think when I started to get into my older years and I started to realize that I really, really liked this, I started to realize there was jobs that I could do in sports. And for a while I thought, I'd like to work in sports, and I'd also like to work in radio. So at a point when I wasn't young, I wasn't like a 21-year-old student. I was 30 when I went to broadcasting school. I went to broadcasting school, and I thought, well, this is what I want to do. I want to work in radio. And I was working in radio, and I was working with this lovely lady, or going to school rather, with this lovely lady named Lori Bonan. And she had been working for the minor league baseball club here, the Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
And she called me one day, and she said to me, you know what, you gotta listen to this. I got your next job for you. I said, you've got a job for me. At the time, I was working at the radio station. I was going to school all day long. I was working a job at the end of the night, and then I was going home, and I was getting up and doing it all over again every day of the week. And I thought, I can't do more work. This is going to work.
Yeah.
And she said, no, the baseball club is looking for a new PA announcer. And I thought, well, that's something I could definitely do. So I decided that I would go out and do this audition. And it was myself, another guy, and a girl. That was the only three people that were called out for this audition. I don't know if they had open casting or whatever it was for it, but three of us showed up, and we did our thing, and they offered me the job, and I left. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Baseball led into junior hockey. Hockey led into football. Football then led into a little bit more of the serious NHL hockey. And then lacrosse came along. And then, of course, I've been in combat sports for like 15 years. Been at that for a really long time. So that was always a part of it. And then knowing that I had an opportunity to kind of parlay that over to sports, I thought, this is terrific. So it didn't work. And then my tenure in radio came to an end. And I realized that I had a lot more fun as a voice guy, as a voice actor, and as a PA announcer than I did necessarily working in radio or worrying about the instability of radio and having to travel around. I had worked here in Vancouver and then was told that, my space wasn't available anymore. So they were going to move me along. And I got offered a place in Alberta or a place in Nova Scotia. And I realized I just didn't want to do that. I really just wanted to stay here in BC where my family was and my friends were and everything. And so I stuck it out. And, we've kind of come to this point now where Rugby 7 reached out, Canada Rugby has reached out a little bit. And a few other things, the NCAA tournament that came to town, Al Murdoch did the majority of the work on that. They also called me up, which was really nice, and had me come in and do a little bit of extra stuff. So it's been a bit of a journey. It wasn't always a sports-oriented job for me, but I realized where my passion lied, and I knew where my calling was. So I'm very fortunate that I've been able to kind of come that full circle. And here we are now, having an interview with you about why I love this stuff so much. I love it, and I really do love this many sports. I'm not just the guy that just loves baseball. I love baseball, I really do. But I love the intricacies of all of the sports.
Coming from a person who also is gung-ho about every single sport, my last article was about a race walker, a Canadian Olympic race walker.
Right.
So I can't get enough of anything. So we definitely can see where you're coming from there. So,
gotcha.
You kind of already talked about it a little bit here, but so, just why do you love sports so much, and what do you love about them?
I think it's that whole camaraderie. It's the teamwork, and it's the coming together. And somebody asked me not too long ago, they said, what's the one thing right now, we're in the middle, we should have wrapped up lacrosse season. So the Warriors lacrosse season should have still been going on. We should be a few games deep into the Whitecaps season right now. We should be talking about training camps and combines and stuff for the CFL although it is CFL draft day. So good luck to all the draft.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, to all those guys. They said to me, "What do you miss most? What do you miss most?" And I knew my answer right away. It didn't take me more than 2 seconds to answer. I miss what happens at the game. Yes, the game is great, and I love it, and I love watching the game, but showing up 2 hours early, putting all the puzzle pieces together, making sure all the ducks are in a row, making sure all of the elements that are going to go on behind the scenes go on, and everybody just thinks, that was terrific at the end of the day. That's what I miss. I miss that a lot. I miss the people. I miss all of the wonderful people that I work with and all the people you get to sit. There's this real cool opportunity at every sporting event where you get the opportunity to just sit, you break bread with people. You can have food and be one-on-one with somebody for 15 or 20 minutes. You do your quick catch up. You get a good idea where they're at. They get a good idea where you're at, and you go on, you do your thing. And then everybody gets to enjoy a sporting event. And we still get to go to a sporting event. I get paid to go to sporting events, Joshua. I think that's one of the, I won't lie to you. That's a serious bonus at the end of the day. I get to go. I work with wonderful people. I work with terrific organizations, and they pay you to go to sports.
As someone who made his first trip to the Whitecaps press box on February 29th for the first Whitecaps game, it's a pretty unbelievable experience. So, I mean, I can understand.
It's really neat being able to see behind the scenes and knowing the people that do the jobs that they do and all of the elements that come together and how everybody's a cog in the machine, right? I want to just be a part of the machine that makes it all run, just like everybody else does. It's all a big, huge team. It's not a huge amount of people. I go to a lacrosse game, a soccer game, a football game, and potentially a rugby match, and I will see a multitude of people that I see in every other place. Camera people, production people, game day people, on-field staff, everything. It's an amazing world to be a part of. I highly recommend that every single person takes the opportunity at least once in their life to work in sports, because it's so tremendous. It's such a wonderful family feel. It's got such a great family feel to it too. That you can't beat it.
Yeah, that's a great answer too, because I think that the best conversations that I had on that day were with one of the security guys downstairs and then one of the hosts about something for 30 minutes or so, each of them. So,
right. I had to go and fill in for Al Murdoch when he was coming back from doing the All-Star game in, I think it was in February or March, something like that. And they had me sit in because Al was running late. He made it on time. So I was happy to just go and sit in the press box and enjoy myself. I went and had brunch with Thomas Gradine.
Wow.
I didn't expect it. And for those of you that, and there's lots, I'm sure you have millions of good quality sports fans that watch this. Thomas Gradine was a forward for the Canucks way back in the day, way back when I was a kid. And he's still as sharp as he was back then today. I had the most phenomenal conversation with him over breakfast for like 20 minutes. I had never met him before in my life. But he sat down beside me. I introduced myself. I said, I know who you are. It's all good. And we just sat there and had this really cool conversation for 20 minutes. It's one of those things that I really, really, really love about going to sporting events. Standing around talking to Carl Valentine for 10 minutes. Stop and get Carl Valentine for 10 minutes. You'll enjoy it every single time you talk to him.
Carl is an absolute pleasure to talk to.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Sorry,
go ahead, by all means.
No, and I was just gonna say Thomas Gradine. I mean, we should thank him right now for the Canucks signing Nils Höglander there.
It's true. That's very true.
The Canucks Swedish scout. So.
Yep, very true. Excellent pickup for them. Yes. They've nurtured and nursed him along really nicely, and have kept them under their umbrella and have done everything they can possibly do for him. I think he's going to be tremendous. I think he's going to be such an asset to the Canucks. Even Jim Benning was saying today, it was either today or yesterday, I think, he was saying he's pretty sure that he'll be able to fight for a roster spot.
Yeah, that was
next season.
yesterday, and his agent too was pretty confident that he would be pushing pretty hard to get in there. So
That's terrific.
yeah, so yeah, just thank you again for doing this. I just want to finish up here with my final question and just
Hmm.
ask what you've been doing to stay sane during the time here, and like, have you picked up any interesting hobbies or anything like that? I know lots of people are learning languages and playing instruments.
I'm really lucky that I have my kids. I really am. My kids are wonderful. I get to spend a great deal of time with them, and they keep me exercising, they keep me moving, they keep me, busy, and we go outside, we run around and stuff like that. But not necessarily in any new hobbies. I started a new YouTube page that'll be coming out pretty soon. I'm reading kids books. I'm giving moms and dads an opportunity in the evening. Generally, when I first started this thing, I was doing this on Facebook Live, and I was doing it at like 7 and 8 o'clock at night. So mom and dad were able to just put the kid in front of the TV or in front of YouTube or whatever, and go and have themselves a glass of wine or a beer, or just go get the laundry done that they weren't able to get done earlier. And I was reading for half an hour, and I've gotten some tremendous response. And I had people from out east reach out to me and say, "Is there a chance you could do this sooner?" And I thought, well, no, because if I'm doing it any sooner, it's like 4 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock their time. That's not going to work. But a friend of mine said, well, what you should do is you should open yourself up a YouTube page, start a YouTube page. So what I'm going to do is I'm creating content over the last week here or so. Hopefully by the weekend, hopefully by Monday, I'll be able to send a link out and launch this new YouTube page where I'm telling bedtime stories. I'm just trying to help you and your kids get to sleep at the end of the day. Maybe it's not even for your kids. Maybe you just need somebody to read you a book for 30 minutes. That's what I'm doing.
That's fantastic. And if I was correct, you were on this morning with reading with the Whitecaps, were you not?
I was. I made my Whitecaps Caps Kids Club debut this morning. It's terrific. I love that sort of stuff. Being able to give back to the community, doing things like that is amazing. I loved it.
That's really awesome, because like you said, I mean, just giving parents the chance to, go do a little bit of laundry or get it in, or even so one parent can have a shower, if they have multiple kids, while the other parent, watches the kid, oversees kids. Or
exactly. Even for 30 minutes, you'd be surprised what you can get done in 30 minutes. As a parent, I know this. So
yes,
having 30 minutes to yourself, maybe it's just mom and dad's opportunity to decompress for 30 minutes.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, even if they're sitting there listening to it too, I mean, they're not doing anything else. They're not running around or.
No, exactly. They can sit, instead of you having to flip through a book, you can just sit with a glass of wine in your hand, or you can sit with a cup of tea in your hand, or whatever it is. But you can just maybe take 30 minutes at the end of your day. Enjoy it. I call it bedtime book time. Enjoy a little bedtime book time. It's good for you at the end of the day. I have lots of adult friends that are tuning in that are like, dude, this is wonderful. This is exactly what I need at the end of the day.
That's fantastic. And we'll have
I'm having fun.
that we share out the YouTube channel for everybody so they can get themselves some rest.
That'd be awesome. I'm making sure to tell people, share it with your friends. Again, I know lots of people out east that have children that are now going to be tuning into the YouTube page. You can watch whatever book you want at whatever time you want.
And two, what you could do is, if you record it in the earlier time slot, you can always replay it again in the 7 o'clock time slot.
Absolutely, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Right?
So
Technology today.
Oh, the things I'm having to learn. Geez, I'm a dinosaur for young. I still got a house phone. I'm like, can I use my house phone for any of this stuff?
We got a landline.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Hey, when the phones go dead, you still need to use the phone, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for doing this, Don.
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime. Happy to do it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me, Joshua. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Yes.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Make sure you tune in weekly on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, starting this Thursday, May 7th, for my live show. For Sports Talk Line, I'm Josh Griffith. And make sure you like sports, all sports.